Hey everybody, it's Brent in Central Arkansas. We're going to do another grow. This time we're going to grow broccoli. Waltham 29 is the variety, actually the cultivar. Alright, so let's turn the scale on. Put a cup on there, an empty cup. Zero it out so that all that's being weighed here are seed. We're going to grow 50 grams of broccoli. We're out here, we got the 50 grams of broccoli. We're going to set that aside for a second. We are going to thoroughly spray this down with the basic antifungal, and we just want to drench this screen so the seed sticks, and it'll be the bottom layer of getting the germination process started. So let me set that antifungal aside for a second. Alright. This is the mesh tray I'm using. I'm using a medium screen. I've also filled it up with half of the pipe level right here of hydroponic fluid, 50%. The only reason why we're doing half is because if we overdo that, the bubbles, too much bubbles can dislodge the seed before the actual root set. So let me turn on the timer here to show you what the bubbles look like. I'm doing a manual engagement of the timer here for 1 minute, just so you can kind of see. It's going to take a little bit because it was empty, so it has to pressurize before it'll start coming out the holes there. Let me hasten it and then we'll draw it back. Okay, that's full blast. Alright, they're finally starting to come out over there. It's a little too fast, so popping up is going to be too much. Over here on the valve, I know that the left four of the top shelf, I'm going to cut that back some. This valve right here. Let's take a look at it. There we go. That's perfect. That's just what I want. So now, let me grab the seed and I'll do a little bit with you. That 1 minute timer's done. It's telling me how long this video is lasting. I've got the 50 grams of seed and I'm just going to sprinkle it on here to where it's evenly distributed. And if you guys don't understand, this is for the book people only. It won't be this detailed for the general public. So that's how I do it. Any container that allows you to do this, spread it evenly like this. Now I've got this much seed left. I'm going to finish it off while you're not looking and bring you back. Since this is a broccoli grow, it's one of the most popular microgreens, probably second in line after sunflowers. I'm doing as much as possible for you. So now that we've got the seed on here, it's dry. It was dry, never soaked at all. No priming needed for most brassicas. I'm thoroughly wetting this stuff. And that's probably good enough. This is the basic antifungal. And now I'm going to put a foam cover on it. This is 3/4 inch foam cover cut to fit. It's directly on the seed. And now I'm going to put 2 of my homemade weights on here. These are each 2 pounds for a total of 4 pounds on here. Now, what the weight and the cover does, it sits right on the seed. I've mentioned this in several videos, but I'm going to mention it again. It sits right on the seed. It creates a downward pressure with this weight on top of it. That downward pressure ensures a more even germination, because 1 or 2 seeds can't lift this weight, but 20,000 seed, for example, can. So it's going to ensure a more even germination. It's going to make sure that the roots go down while that's happening, which will set the plants into the nutrient. And the struggle up, pushing this weight up, is going to help remove the holes from the broccoli, just like it would if it was trying to bust through soil, maybe even a little more so. And those seed holes are going to stick to this cover. Alright, the last thing we did was we put a blackout dome on here. The blackout dome is just a clear dome that was painted with flat black only on the outside. We don't want anything harmful on the interior that could soak back onto the seeds. This is only on the outside. So this blackout dome does a couple different things. First off, it keeps absolutely all light out, which is, I think, key to help with germinating. It also encourages the plants to get leggy, and it traps in humidity and moisture, which is essential for how we grow this way. So we've got the weight to cover, the blackout dome. It's also very important to make sure that these vents are closed off. And also a little bit of light can leak through these vents, because you can see they're not tight. And so I put this little bit of shade cloth on top of that, and that makes sure that no light gets in. Just an extra precaution. Probably doesn't need to be done. Alright, that's it for now. I will bring you back in 2 days, which will be when they start germinating. See the broccoli starting to show around the edges, and it has lifted this up some. Let's take a look at it. Remove the weights and the cover, and that's what it looks like, nice and smashed. Now I'm going to this is about where I'm going to take off the cover and weights. You can see here that there is still coatings coming off on the cover. I'll knock that off. But we're no longer going to do it with the cover and weights. We're just going to use a blackout dome until they get about this tall above the side here. And then we'll take it off and expose it to light. Alright, like I do with every grow, until the blackout dome is removed, I hit it with the basic antifungal. And if I haven't mentioned this, or you haven't caught me mention it before, I painted this particular sprayer black, because the basic is hydrogen peroxide. I'm just going to soak it down thoroughly, and we're going to put the blackout dome on it. Looking good. Could use a little bit more nutrient. Normally, I would uncover this from the blackout dome and let the plants, the micros, get nice and firm, thick, and the cotyledon spread. However, we're doing a maximum grow this time, and we're going to keep the dome on for at least another day, possibly even 2. I am not, however, going to spray it with antifungal anymore. Alright, the broccoli's the height we want it. We're going to uncover it today. almost there with the broccoli. Could actually be harvested now. But I'm going to wait just a little bit longer. See if I can get the tiniest of true leaf on each one. Broccoli is looking really good, and you're starting to get the smallest of true leaf on it, and that's what I want. I want a little bit of true leaf on this grow. Alright everybody, let's harvest this fantastic looking broccoli. It's a really good grow, I can tell you that already. Should be somewhat heavy. It's not going to be one of the heavier grows, but it's going to be a real good grow for me. I think we'll harvest directly on the countertop. This is another harvest method that's mentioned in the book. It's called screen harvesting, and you don't need any kind of support. And this is probably the first time the regular YouTube public is hearing the part about this. I'm doing more detailed versions of these for the people who purchase the book, and that's just to show exactly so you can copy every single thing of what I do. But for this purposes, I'll harvest just like I would for the book people. So the first thing we want to do is we have a bottom tray here, and attached underneath it on top of that is a mesh tray with a screen, and then the broccoli is growing directly on that. So the first thing we need to do is separate the mesh from, or separate the screen and the broccoli from the mesh tray. Now this should stay on there nicely because, as you can see, most of the roots came through this mesh tray. And this is a different kind of mesh tray. I talked about that in the book as well, along with several different kinds of screen. 3 different kinds. So okay, this is sitting right on the table, and obviously if you're going to do this type of harvesting, you want to make sure it's clean. But for our purposes, we're going to just harvest it this way. The table is rinsed off, and I'm going to do it with scissors. I kind of prefer scissors over the knife. It just seems to be a little better for me. So you just grab a bunch, beautiful crisp white roots, and the scissors, make sure there's no pulling. And it comes off really easily. The seeds are towards the bottom of the screen. And as you can see here, the microgreens are coming out in nice neat clumps. Now what I'm going to do with this is go ahead and finish harvesting. I'll speed it up for you so you can watch me do it. It'll just be in fast motion. Here we go. Alright, I'm back finishing up here. There we go. Now, there's a good bit left here. I could have gone slower, more careful with it all, but we have a pretty, especially right here, there's a whole bunch right here. We have a whole bunch of greens here, and for the purpose of the video, I'm not too concerned with it, but it's real easy to clean this screen. The screens that are used, and all you do is just take your hand, run it across the screen like that, kind of with your fingernails a little bit, tips of your fingers. It comes right off. This is going to go to my worms if you don't watch my channel. I've been feeding excess to the worms. Once the majority is off, I flip it over and we take off the roots. And the roots, they turn from a crisp white to this kind of off color pretty quickly after you pull them out of the bottom tray. Alright, so you got majority of it off here. I gotta clean off this table too. That's gonna go to the worms as well. Now all I do, I hope you can see it behind me with this, is I take the screen over to an object that's hard, and in this case my deck, and I just pop it a few times just like this. That gets the majority of the screen clean. And this is PVC coated polyester. It's really strong stuff. In fact, just that little flick got a lot of it off. So it's, I mean, it can be used over and over and over for a really long time. And I've used it for quite a number of grows now. So yeah, cleanup is really easy. There's no need to mess with soil or anything. You're looking at my belly button probably. There's no need to mess with soil, cocoa peat, cocoa coir, peat, potting mix, soil, any of that kind of stuff. You just put the seed on there, you do your grow, cut it, start over. It's real simple. I just disinfect the trays, start another grow. Super easy. Let's go give these things away. All right, we're gonna weigh like we always do. Gonna turn the scale on. We're going to put a glass on so it's elevated so you can see the scale reading here. We're going to put an empty container on here, the same one that's used for the microgreens, for the sole purpose of zeroing it out. Now, when we put the microgreens on here, it'll be the way the microgreens only. It's being measured. Okay, that is 788 grams, 27.8 ounces, 1.73 pounds. That's a pretty good weight. That's kind of what I expected. Can you guys see that? 788 grams? Hope so. Alright, so I'm going to rummage through this with you watching so you can see that there's nothing going on here. Nothing microgreens in here. It's just a whole lot of them. So, let me give you a close-up and a taste test and we'll polish off this video. Alright, this is what they look like up close. Now to do a taste test, let me grab a couple of my display items here. Give it a taste test. There's a reason why broccoli are at the top. They're good. They really are good. And what do they taste like? Have you ever eaten raw broccoli? I can't help myself. Like putting in a salad or something like that. It tastes like raw broccoli. I'm not kidding. As most micros do, they taste like a lot like their grown counterpart. This is Brencher, guys. We'll see you later.